Okay. Another thing is that as somebody that's being compared to the next Elliot Rogers, I wanted to get a few things to clear the air and tell you guys a few things. I have had in the past, and I will freely confess to it, have had some dark and violent fantasies about doing terrible things to the Republicans, and that was probably something that I should not have shared or said out loud. And I have been dogged and harassed by people who seem to think that I am ultimately like a ticking time bomb that's going to explode. And I have been angry, and I did take the fish oil pill today, by the way. I've been angry and explosion like, and I think that part of it was just that I felt antagonized by these people, who just wouldn't leave me alone here on YouTube, and I just wanted to be left alone by them. Like I didn't want to have to interact with them anymore, and that was the thing. I just wanted them to go away, and no matter how many times I asked them to do that, they just wouldn't go away, you know. Um, and it was getting frustrating, and they were pissing me off to the point where I was basically shouting at them a periodic basis. I was coming on here and like screaming at those people, and that was a mistake, in retrospect. But I try to do a channel that focuses on the things that are interesting to me and my perspective and whatnot. And obviously I took a shower and shaved today. Do you see that? And in the future I probably learn and maybe go to a barber shop and have them teach me how to trim a beard rather than just shave it completely off, because I'm hearing a lot about how that's attractive and whatnot. But eventually it gets to the point where it's unruly, and I should get But yeah, that's my own thoughts. I clipped my nails today, as you can see. Like I can actually get them on camera to visible. I heard a lot from some people about keeping your nails clean and stuff as far as hygiene is concerned. So I took care of that particular problem, and I bought a nail clipper and whatnot, and I'm probably gonna start putting on deodorant and such. But yeah, I've been harassed by these group of people. So, but this today I've wasted 2 minutes of your time talking about like minor life updates. I wanted to talk about Elliot Rodger today. I mean, the Elliot Rodger controversy, since people kept calling me the next Elliot Rodgers. First of all, I don't want to have to be the one to carry out any violence myself. I don't want to be the one to get a gun and shoot anybody. And one of the biggest reasons is that for the last 2 years, and really for the last like maybe 7 years. And by the way, I'm watching Swing Kids in the other window tonight. That's my entertainment for tonight. For the 1993 Swing Kids. I fell in love with a another YouTuber. And she's on Facebook sometimes. But I fell in love with somebody else on this particular platform, and she's very left leaning, very left wing, and so am I. And we've kind of had a solidarity about our left wing politics. And if you look at like what we say in our stances on things, we're very similar. There's a lot of overlap. And I literally started the company because of the fact that I ended up like in a state of despair, because it was like, unlike Oni-san or Oni-chan or whatever those guys who were able to get like massive success on YouTube and whatnot. Like I was just somebody that had access to the internet and a basic computer, and I didn't really have that much of an income stream from other sources, and I was just crying, constantly. It was just like I was in a state of despair because I was falling in love with this person, and I knew that I would likely never even be able to hold them or touch them or put my hands on them in any way, shape, or form. And it was just depressing. And in my state, and like it was not like the first time I'd fallen in love with somebody in cyberspace, and it was not like the first time that but it was the most powerful thing that I've fucking ever felt, because like I'd been in love with other people before, and this was completely novel. I mean, it took me with such overpowering force, that I'd never ever experienced something like that, and learned that from her that love is one of those things where there's orders of magnitude to how powerful and deep a feeling and emotion ultimately is. And so when Elliot Rodger went on his killing spree and such, I was already neck deep into that relationship in particular. And Elliot Rodger went nuts and ape shit and started killing a bunch of like sorority. He tried to break into the sorority to kill girls, and then just settled for shooting at anybody randomly. My take and my observations from the Elliot Rodger drama was like, first of all, from what I can tell and from what we've seen from him, he was an attractive bloke who probably, if he hadn't gone on a killing rampage, would have been able to find a girlfriend if he had just been willing to actually approach. I think Elliot Rodgers suffered from an extraordinary amount of approach anxiety and just like to park his car, which was admittedly a very nice car, in areas where girls tended to congregate, and then expected them to come up and just fall all over him. That's not how it works, and like genuinely, it's not how it actually works. You have to get up and actually interact with them. You have to dice with them. And he was just so angry and resentful that people weren't just like throwing themselves at him, and it was ridiculous. I mean, even if you're a guy that's clearly rich and you've got all the nicest stuff and whatnot, you've got to actually mix with them, and they want to actually interact with you so that they can try to figure out what you're like, somewhat, that they don't want you to they want to have to actually, dice with you somewhat, so they can figure out like if you're a perv or a creep or just somebody that just wants to get laid and that's all you're interested in. If you talk about sex all the time, or if you're interested in other things, and if you care about them, and if you try to get them to talk, if you care about their hopes, ambitions. I mean, they think about a lot of things, most women at least. And I mean, yeah, you can find the girl here and there that just wants to get laid and have a short term relationships. And what I would say about that is just be really honest about your intentions. I mean, if you just want to get laid, just tell them that, because you don't want to fucking fuck with somebody's feelings. That's just my basic advice. You don't want to fucking hurt somebody. And you shouldn't want to. And if the girl that you want doesn't, want to fuck around with, doesn't want that, she wants a serious thing, just find somebody else, because there's plenty of fish out there. There's plenty of fish in the sea, and some of them are, exceptionally beautiful. The ones that just want to get laid themselves. I mean, relationships are a lot of work. They take a lot of give and take. And the truth of the matter is that, you know, um, there are women out there that don't want to put in the effort and work and just want, something satisfying. You know, they're out there. Just look for it. But Elliot Rodger just kind of mixed. He didn't want to mix. He didn't want to actually talk to these girls, and that's and it turned into a huge tragedy as a result of that. And I think that I can't support his actions and his bitterness. And looking at his journals and stuff, it's like clear that his mind just completely unraveled, and there was nobody that was really talking back about any of this stuff to the guy. I didn't when it all happened. Like, can I like to be completely honest with you? I only found out about Elliot Rodger like as after the massacre had already taken place, and then it was like this all started coming out about him. Like, I hadn't seen his channel, I hadn't seen the content that he was pushing, I hadn't seen any of that, and I might have said something, if I had been around and seen it, but I wasn't even aware the dude existed until he was already dead. But yeah, I mean that's basically what I've been able to perceive out of the whole thing, and I think it's really ultimately sad, and I think that he did something that was awful, and that he was very mentally disturbed, and I mean, like, I'm not gonna hero worship the guy. I mean, what he did was fucked up, and I condemn it completely. But I don't think I don't think that what I think is just that the dude had a lot of approach anxiety, and he didn't want to interact, and it slowly aided him because he wasn't getting validation to the point where he went completely insane. You know, bit by bit as his mind started to crumble. One of the reasons why you haven't even seen like a word of me complaining about like the nice guy, like I'm a nice guy and these bitches are rejecting me. You haven't heard any of those types of rants from me. Is that there is somebody in my life that has kept me, pretty much satisfied, and I'm not like in that mode. I'm finding, that, to be honest with you, that I get a lot. I get what I get some, some women. I don't get them all. Every now and then, there's some, but like, and then it's not really just every now and then, but there are a lot of girls, that don't, but there are a lot of girls that do too. So, you know, um, what I would say is just that you win some and you lose some, ultimately, and that's just how it works. It's like a numbers game. Keep trying, you'll find somebody, and that's the best that I can say as far as the talk about women and whatnot. And Elliot Rodger, uh, it's a good thing that he can't kill anybody else anymore. And he's gone. So I mean, that's my take on the dude. Take it or leave it.